All right, guys, we're finally here. It has been a long time coming, dude. It has been a very long time coming. Issue 6 of Batman 89 Echoes is finally here, and with that, we can finally wrap this series up and see where roughly 1 year and 9 months has brought us. I told myself I wouldn't bring it up again during last issue, but dude, I've lived like 2 lives since then. So needless to say, it's been a minute. The wait for this issue has been insane. It's probably been the longest one yet. I finished issue 5 in 2024 and released it January 1st of this year. And since that video, I haven't uploaded anything since then. Dude, I've almost forgot how to upload videos at this point. Let alone film them too, Jesus. I believe this issue was supposed to come out back in March. And I think it's gotten pushed back like 4, 5, maybe 6 times. It's been stressful. I had to mentally prep myself to approach and tackle this issue, only to realize that all the mental prep was for nothing. And I would have to repeat this very same process every single month for like 3, 4 months. As of recording this, it is like almost mid-July at this point. Needless to say, it's very unfortunate to say this, not only has this 1 year and 9 month wait to finish this series completely nerfed my interest in this series, but this last stretch to get to this issue, dude, it kind of killed me a little bit. But that isn't going to stop me from giving this all that I have for you guys, because all of you deserve it for sticking with me through all of this. I see every one of you in the comments during each issue, and I gotta say, I appreciate all of you. It's really crazy to think that this will be my 3rd series I will be wrapping up at this point. And every time this happens, I feel like I wrap up an era of my life, so I can't help but just get a little up in my feels a little bit. But that's enough about me. I know none of you are here for that, and all of you are here for this issue. So, since it's been so long, we both need a recap from issue 5, because honestly, let's be real, what even happened? So issue 5, from what I remember, was my favorite one of the bunch, from a pretty mid bar that was set, if I'm being real. And dude, I'm always being real. Barb showed up at the manor to interrogate Alfred on if Bruce was behind all of the things that have been happening. The things that have been happening, dude, I don't even know anymore. Link in the description for all of my past videos on this series. Al tries to fend her off as Bruce waltzes into the kitchen completely aloof and oblivious of the interaction taking place. Our rich boy fills them both in on how Doc Crane killed Hugo Strange with his fear juice. Barbs is annoyed, as always. Magadna and her crazed escape patients try negotiating with police for $5 million from ACN so they can be let free. She calls Chuck, demanding him to fork up the money, and he folds like a broken chair on the beach. Naturally. Bruce gives Barbs a nice little tour of Harvey Dent's site of death, like some kind of tourist attraction. Chuck tries to negotiate by getting the money out of his sleazebag boss, but quickly shows his true colors, stabbing Harleen in the back like the sleazebag that he is. Miss Q loses it and darts off with her patients. Jonathan Crane meets with a shady-looking man in Gotham Square to talk an agreement that they had for his fear juice. But it backfires, and then the backfire backfires as Crane grabs his balls back to grab their balls in return. Bruce cracks the fear formula, Alfred solves some brain-dead riddles from ya Maynard boy Ridley, followed by Bruce having a fear reaction from looking at the Batsuit. Not all is that well, apparently. Drake, being the strapping and capable young man he is, prints off wanted posters of Crane and plasters them all around Gotham with the hands he has apparently everywhere. He is a man of respect and a man of very hard work. Crane impersonates an HVAC worker, waltzes into ACN, plants some fear gas, and stands back to watch things unfold. But people are on his trail as they recognize him. Kashif, looking like an old Theo Vaughn, is apparently fine after being in the deepest of comas. He's just resting so he can get the chance to finish off his Return of the Rat tour, to finally be returned. Batman and Bird Boy suit up and take the streets as Damn Mama makes her way to Chuck's office. She demands a camera crew, now! There has been a brand new hostage crisis. The hostage crisis being her. Scarecrow hijacks and takes over the TV news station by claiming that he is Firefly, as we watch the fear gas leak its way through the newsroom. Hell is unleashed in this godless city, fights break loose, and people jump off buildings. Crane then gets cornered by Batman and cucked by his own fear juice, something I think that he thoroughly enjoys. We ended last issue with both Batman and Scare Crane being cornered by the men whose balls got grabbed by Crane earlier, as they are now grabbing his balls back. It's just one big ball grabbing fest, bro, for real. And with that leads us to the final chapter, issue 6, Gotham's Witching Hour. Let's dive in one last time. We open up to the Caped Crusader being completely cornered in the alleyway. He has to think fast to get out of this unpredictable situation he has landed himself in. Grabbing for his trusty grappling hook, he points to the skies above, trying to find somewhere to secure it to with nothing but his escape in mind. As Batman starts making his ascent, the goons are completely baffled by this technology the masked vigilante in a batsuit has at his disposal. The main goon demands his men to take the bat down and to try not hitting Crane in the process. There are 6 men who are assumed to be the best qualified for the job, not even 15 feet away. They all unload their weapons and seemingly miss every single shot. The group just graduated Stormtrooper University, top of the class, and all of them got rated most likely to succeed within their field. Their classmates would be proud of where they are today. As Batman stands on top of a Gotham gargoyle, the men below hold their fire and question where their target disappeared to, as if they didn't just see him ascend upwards. With all of the intellect these guys can come up with and muster, it is discovered that Batman is indeed up above. Smoke pellets are thrown down below. They explode and fill the alleyways, blocking their vision, as if they even had any in the first place. The main goon states how they will take the cucked out Crane. He just needs 2 goons to cover them and then follow behind in the van. The Bat tries to ascend to higher ground, this time looking like 2 shots have finally made contact. Drake comes out of nowhere to reach a helping hand down to the panicked Bat. He tells him to relax. Relax? Read the room, Drake. The goons are now on their escape route with Crane tucked safely in their getaway van. Fuad informs the main goon that there is something very, very wrong with this peculiar gentleman that they have kidnapped. Main goon is all too aware about the state of complete cuckery that Cuck Crane is in. The man in the passenger seat calls attention. He has a message. The demon awaketh, as he holds up his cell phone. Main goon looks shocked and very, very alarmed. The Bat and the Bird stand at the top of a building as Drake states how that went south in a hurry, then asks if they were the foreign buyers. Batman says, yeah, they were, and how he thinks that they broke up their prearranged meetup. He states how he put a tracer on the van, and that's where the fear juice is. Bruce asks Drake what's wrong, as something is very wrong. Rakeem just called in from Arkham. Shit has hit the fan, and it isn't smelling very good. He is not going to believe this, but 5 minutes earlier, Theo Vaughn awoke from his deep coma and is now ready to take over the world on his return of the rat tour. This rat is well rested and ready to infest the crevices of all that lives. The man who prayed by his side praises Allah. He has returned to them at last. Theo Vaughn thanks his strong right hand for serving him well. His reward will be great, glorious even, but for now, he will need his scrubs and lanyard. Mr. Von Kernatowski III has a world to take over. The rat has returned and all shall bow down to the power that is. All scrubbed up and ready to party, the newly refreshed Kashif makes his way through the reception office. He asks the guard on patrol if it has been a long day. The guard agrees as he is kicked back reading the most recent issue of the Gotham Globe. Breakout at Arkham, Firefly on the loose. Upon his exit, Kashif notices someone far behind him, but he doesn't care. As he steps outside, the newly freed man laughs maniacally and states how the city of Gotham is glorious. Rakeem is behind him, creeping out the door, not creeping from afar, most likely about to inform Drake in on what the recently awakened madman is up to, as he is a little shocked at what he is witnessing. We catch back up with the Avenging Eagle as he is soaring his way through the streets. He informs the B-Man on how Kashif looks 40 years younger at least and is headed for the South Borough Bridge on foot. But as of right now, he has some work to do and they will catch up later. Drake hops onto his Robinmobile and skirts away. We catch back up with the van of terrorist goons. The man in the passenger is annoyed. The light is green, yet this fool blocks the intersection. Main goon doesn't slow down and says how the man outside will decide his own fate. A face-off between Drake and the goons take place. A loud honk fills the air. Robin loads up a missile and fires it at the vehicle. As the missile is heading their way, they try turning out of the way, as if that will save them in any shape, way, or form, being 15 feet away. These guys aren't very smart. But apparently, maybe I was wrong, as Drake missed the Hummer and that last second turn saved their asses. I am kinda shocked by that. I know Drake wasn't going to flat out blow the bitch up, but at least immobilize them. He hops on call to state how the Humvee is headed eastbound on Westminster. A bunch of baby robins stay perched upon the rooftops obeying their master. They'll be waiting. Honestly, a bunch of Robin goons is pretty badass. Like, look at these guys. I would not want to fuck with this guy. Like, good for you, Drake. As Master Bird Boy pursues the van, the men in the van inform the men in the Hummer how Drake is on their ass since the Hummer containing Crane was let go. Drake tails in close behind and lets loose his harpoon, hooking it into the rear door, bringing the van to a complete halt after it crashed into a pole. The driver hops out in a panic as Drake closes in like the badass he is. The man is stumbling and stuttering. The vigilante states how, hey man, you can't park there, and how he will need a tow truck. Closing in, he has the driver right where he wants him. It's clobbering time. The baby Robins spot the Hummer approaching. The left Robin sends an order to light the garbage. The middle Robin lights the torch, and the far Robin counts down from 3. A great group effort from all of them. As the countdown reaches 0, the torch is thrown into the garbage can, igniting it, and from there is thrown down to the Hummer below. As the main goon is approaching their destination about 2 blocks away, the man in the passenger calls attention to something burning in the sky. Without much time to react, the flaming garbage makes contact with the driver's side window, bringing the Hummer to a crashing halt. This time again into a nearby pole. Tonight in Gotham City, no poles are safe. As main goon stumbles out of the vehicle with his accomplices and Crane, he demands to know who did this and who dared to thwart their plans. A nearby man calls attention to the sky as the question is answered. It was the Nightwings. They call for a full-blown attack. Who the fuck are the Nightwings? The goons demand an open fire upon them. The Nightwings descend upon their targets and proceed to toss some shurikens. A massive brawl breaks out. Shurikens are tossed, shots are fired, and knees are sent into any ribcage it can find. Main goon stays untouched and unharmed as he grabs Crane. He demands his hostage to run, you idiots! Run as if Batman is behind you! This gets to Crane's psyche as his cuck level is still running pretty high, kicking his ass into gear. Drake pulls up to the Gotham docks, Bay 94, where the brawl is taking place. It looks like all his baby birds are holding their ground real well. Either Drake strategically picked the most elite fighters in Gotham, or these supposed terrorists who should be the best at their job just can't hold their ground at all. Or both, seeing how they've been shooting and reacting to things. And also, I trust Drake's judgment in hiring people. Main goon is escorting Crane to a getaway boat and demands the goons guarding them to hold everyone off as he must deliver Crane to the ship. Drake skirts up to the dock as goon shots are fired to try stopping the vigilante, but their shots prove to be worthless as the Robin-mobile absorbs all of the bullets like they're nothing. Drake pulls up to the end of the dock as he watches the men escape. He would use his harpoon to stop them, if he had more, since he just used his last one on the van. Shame. I'm sure you at least have something in your arsenal to stop the goons, but okay. We fly across town to the Southborough Bridge. Theo Vaughn is about to make his grand entrance for his return of the Rat Tour, but is stopped by the Robins. The birds greet the rat good evening and asks if there is anything they can assist him with. Theo Vaughn tries to play it off, saying he is only in his work clothes and says he has no money, no wallet, and assures them he has nothing they could possibly want. He's just an innocent man trying to attend his tour, but his bluff is called. The birds don't want the rat. The bat wants the rat, and he is hungry. It has been a very long night. He hasn't had his daily bowl of Ridley Charms yet. His blood sugar is low, and he's beginning to get really annoyed at the lack of sustenance in his system. And right about now, a rat with a vengeance and a death wish looks pretty damn appetizing. Dr. Quinzel has cameras and crew all set up as the show is about to start. Alicia sits there off to the side, not wanting anything to do with this madness, as the sight of Q brings up the memories of her last romance she is trying so hard to move on from and forget. Chuck sits there slouched over, knowing how he is about to get fucked in the least satisfying way imaginable. The lady who is a part of the crew informs Madogma how they should probably evacuate. The fear gas is still rising. It's now up to the 23rd floor, and it's only a matter of time before it reaches the penthouse. Well, Sharon, if there still is gas in the building, and with it rising, trying to evacuate will only bring you into the gas and descend you into the madness. Maybe, try opening a window. This entire penthouse is literally all window. Dr. Q sits there with a corkscrew in her hand, confident in the situation, and demands nobody is allowed to leave, or Chucky here is done for. She asks Philco to pick up the sofa and ram it straight through the picture window. Like an obedient dog, Philco does what Philco is told and yeets the couch out of the window. Q states that they now have all the fresh air they could possibly want. No need to evacuate. Thank you, finally, some common sense. I never thought Miss Q would be the one with the brains here. Harleen asks if they are on air. We're gonna call this chick Sharon now, because honestly, she is totally a Sharon. Well, honestly, Sharon has no idea. The control room is empty. The feed would have to go through She is interrupted, most likely by Chuck, since this is where he'd be sitting. He is saying how they should just turn the TV on and check. Whoever hired Sharon needs to fire her. The TV is turned on and they are on air. Perfect. The eyes, man. Holy fuck. It's all in the eyes. Like, look at those crazy eyes. Miss Q makes her introduction to the fine people of Gotham with an important message for their beloved owner of ACN, Rudolph McElwain, who unfortunately couldn't spare a measly $5 million trying to save his loyal employee, Harleen. Yeah, dude, because she looks like she can be saved. I mean, I could fix her. She grabs Chuck, pulls him in close, positions the corkscrew near his ear, and states how she has his boy, the one who writes the checks. Q demands Chuck to tell all the nice folks about all those checks he writes for the boss, and also all the checks he writes for a mysterious man named Zach, who doesn't even work for the company. Some say that Zach is the reason that Chuck is even in the position that he's in today, as everything that he knows and demonstrates on a daily basis is on behalf of Zach. Chuck owes him his life for being able to sleaze his way to the top, and Chuck has stopped at nothing to give his old pal just what he thinks he deserves. Q also demands Chuck to tell them all about the check to Ursula Bird from News at Noon. How big a check did old Uncle Rudy write her to settle that sexual harassment suit? The corkscrew is now driven into Chuck's ear, not enough to cause damage, but enough to send the message that she is not messing around. Chuck yells out in pain and claims how it was $12 million. Holy shit. Damn, mama, thanks Chuck, and says how ransom will start at 12 mil and counting. Now what about that check too? The broadcast is cut short as the anchors down at the station take back hold of their network. Miss Q isn't surprised by all this. It just means that the big bastard at the top is watching. Chuck demands Harleen to stop what she's doing and proceeds to spit facts on how she's throwing away her dreams, her hard work, her whole brand. He spits more and says how it's not too late to change course. He can fix it. He can fix her. She can still have her show where she exploits the mentally ill for nothing but views and recognition. They'll just pretend it was all a promotional stunt to jack up the ratings, just like she was saying. We flash back to a session between Q and Catwoman. All those years, I smiled for them. That fixed, vapid smile that said, I want to please you. The Selena face. And then I put on this mask and suddenly, for the first time, I was free. I was truly myself. No one to answer to, no one to please. In their world, I could only fail because that's how they rigged it. So let them live in my world and see how they like it. We cut back to the present. Q grabs Alicia by the hand and thanks Chuck. His instincts were right. Alicia should host the show. She's earned it. In fact, she's got a great idea for her first guest, a freak of the week they'll never forget. It is herself, Harley Quinn, as she makes her official debut to the world in all of her crazed, insane, unfixable, and unhinged glory. In the distance, there's a whoop, 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 as someone calls attention to the noise. It appears to be a helicopter. Cameras and microphones are on board. The news. They call out to Dr. Q. They're there to negotiate with her, or so they say. A sniper is spotted aboard as he tries to secure himself a steady aim on Harleen. A clean shot has been made at her, but something's in the way, yeah. As something is quite literally thrown at the sniper, getting in the way, knocking the shooter's aim off entirely. A shot is fired, but Miss Q makes a run for it as it pierces through her hat while she dives out of the way for cover. She calls for everyone in the room to also get down for cover. The psychiatrist is pissed and calls out their so-called plan to negotiate. Chuck also just bought himself a one-way ticket to the sidewalk. ETA, less than 10 seconds. 8.5 if he's lucky. And if he pays that $12 million, he will make it down an extra couple seconds quicker. But Chuck is gone, and already infuriated Miss Q is mega infuriated. She storms out of the room demanding Chuck to show his weaselly little face. Does Chuck Lance pop out of his weasel hole to confront the crazed doctor that he so desperately wishes to fix? Stay tuned. An interrogation is taking place between the bird, the bat, and the rat. Theo Vaughn tries to play it off by saying how his name is Kashif. Robin, taking hold of the situation as Batman stands aback, watching his protege outshine him, says, "Okay, so who's this? Ra's al Ghul." Hey, I had a comment on one of my previous videos stating how Kashif is Ra's al Ghul, and I just want to say, congratulations, you are correct. Kashif sits there and smirks. He states that how over the years he has used so many names that even he confuses them. Drake states how Kashif's boys here seem to think that he's some kind of a god or demon. You a demon? Merely a businessman. See, he's hosted the popular podcast This Past Weekend with Theo Vaughn and assures him that he can hop on the next episode if he pleases. He needs more vigilantes on the show. One of the Robins calls attention to Drake as he is holding a phone in his hand. He has McCloof on the other line. Drake answers and greets the stranger. McCloof asks to whom does he have the honor. Drake informs him on how he's the guy that has Ra's al Ghul, and if he wants him back, McCloof laughs at the audacity. They have what they need, and that is Dr. Crane. Ra's al Ghul is of no further value to them. The disrespect towards Ra's, sheesh. Ra's takes note of the disrespect and asks McCloof if Fuad is there. Yes, ya Wally, he is. Ra's perks up and asks to kindly explain to McCloof the fallacy in his logic. The master is understood. Gunshots are heard over the line. Ra's thanks Fuad. Now, as we were saying, Mr. Theo al Ghul proceeds to make his negotiation. The Nightwings gather outside of Royal Auto Body as Batman and Bird Boy exit towards the Batmobile. The Bat informs the Bird how after the hostage swap, he will be in charge of Crane, and the Bat will handle Mr. Ghul and his crew. But one last thing before they part ways. He needs to let Drake know how he was right. His business model is more sustainable, which is a cool thing to hear from Batman since his methods may not always be correct, and he's letting his sidekick have the freedom to change the way that things are done. Drake asks what the B-Man means by that. It means to stay safe, in case he ever wants to grow up and settle down. Batman smiles proudly at the young man, knowing full well that he made a good choice on inviting him into his extracurricular nighttime activities. With Ra's in the passenger side of the Batmobile, he is blindfolded and states how he is delighted to make the Bat's acquaintance. Ra's proceeds to ask if he is the presumed terrorist who broke out of the asylum. Batman asks what makes him think that. Mr. Ghul, with all the knowledge and perception in the world, states how it would simplify the narrative. The terrorist escapes and voila, just like that, Batman reappears out of nowhere, almost like magic. He must really want the fear toxin very badly to go through such trouble. All Batsy wanted to do was find out who killed Dr. Hugo Strange. He didn't think that he would open the biggest can of worms that he has opened in a very long time. Ra's proceeds to smirk and says how, so, behind that fright mask of yours, you're a sort of detective? World's finest, actually. Throw some respect on it. Well, here's some detective for you. Strange was once employed by an American industrialist named Wayne. He asks the Bat if he works for him. Batman works for himself. Raish asks if he is Wayne. Damn, dog. This man is awake for 17 minutes and he already has all the answers everywhere. Batman responds with a play from Raish's book of tricks and says how he's used so many names that even he confuses them, both not confirming nor denying his accusation. Harleen is on her wit's end while her chill level is at record low, clocking in at 0% from a usual 6 or a light 5. She stands enraged in the doorway to the stairwell, calling out for Chuck to get his greasy little pig ass up there. Our little weasel boy descends down into the madness, unaware of what he is walking into, but he embraces it. He coughs a couple times, meaning the gas is now deeply situated in his lungs. Putting a handkerchief to his face, he sees something but can't quite make out what it is. Whatever it is, though, has startled him and startled him good. He looks behind to see a green smoke-formed monster. I want to feast on your bowels. If it was Miss Q, Chuck would be all in, but he screams and makes a run for it. For further emergency updates, we now return you to Cartoon Carousel. Chuck darts down the hall and makes way for the control room. He closes the door once he gets inside to witness a whole bunch of Miss Qs dancing about. And the coolest panel of the issue so far, and the coolest panel I've seen in this series in a while. You have met your match when you met me, and I won't let you get away so easy. Chuck is completely alarmed and very confused at what is taking place before him. He screams out, "No!" as his mind is now being driven completely mad. Harleen barges into the room stating how it is the end of the line. Chuck is screaming to make it stop as there's a loud crash. The insane man did one insane thing and yeeted his head straight into the television, unaliving himself to get away from all of the Miss Qs dancing around him. Can't handle his crazies, apparently. Good lord. After the death and demise of Chuck Lance, Harleen makes her way up to the top of ACN to unexpectedly meet Selina. She asks where Q has been. They almost left without her. Harleen stands stunned and asks what Selina is even doing there. As Catwoman grabs hold of a ladder hanging down from what I assume to be a helicopter, she holds her hand out for Harleen to join her. Selina took note that Q was about to get killed by a police sniper, so, being in the neighborhood and all, she thought she'd drop by and save her life. Harleen needs to hold up a sec because she is very confused. She is piecing the little 10-piece baby puzzle together and makes a shocking discovery that Selina Kyle, the estranged woman who comes to all of her therapy sessions dressed up as Catwoman and talks all this Catwoman lore, is indeed Catwoman. Yes. Yeah, shocker. I had no idea either. It's what she's been trying to tell her all this time, but she's not been listening. As Harleen climbs her way up the ladder, she states how she just assumed that Selina had an active fantasy life and wasn't actually serious. It's crazy because Harleen has had this whole thing of persona therapy, putting the mask on to bring out your true self and all that. She has all of this supposed knowledge on the concept, but lacks the perception to see that Selina Kyle, the unstable crazy cat lady who has a love for cats and tight, uncomfortable outfits, is actually Catwoman. For being a professional with some sort of mental health degree, she really lacks the perception, knowledge, insight, and everything needed for the role. Catwoman grabs hold of Harleen's hand and says, "Girl, look in the mirror," implying she has also had an active fantasy life, and to why she never put this little 10-piece baby puzzle together beforehand when Selina gave her all of the pieces, and then demands both of Harleen's hands to come with her. The ladder breaks as Miss Q panics, but Selina assures her to stay calm and gives her the greatest riddle of them all. What does she hate more than anything? The ingratitude? Catwoman asks what Q is going to give her for the helping hand in her obvious time of need. Harleen catches her breath and asks, 3 sessions a week? Free? For life? Catwoman will pay in trade, since Miss Q really needs some on-the-job training, since every single day she really do be acting like it's her first day on the job. So at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, a very holy or unholy union is formed between Harley Quinn and Catwoman. Batman and Ra's al Ghul are now at their destination, which is the docks. A ship with Arabic text sits docked as Jonathan Crane has a Robin securing him by the shoulder and a goon securing him by the arm. Cuck Crane is going nowhere. Ra's asks if the detective will join him on board to discuss his proposition. It would be his honor. All aboard the demon ship as business is now being discussed. A simple proposal. We share the fear toxin. You may use it on petty criminals, police, politicians, or business rivals as you wish. I will remain my own sphere of influence. In return, you will have access to the formidable resources of my worldwide network. And more valuable still, you will have my friendship, my respect, and my honor, Your Honor. Ra's stands in his quarters looking like a lavish prince, finally within his element. He informs Batman, who is sitting before him, that he has truly come to admire him. The Bat has an original mind. It's not often he encounters people with minds such as his. Batman disregards everything that he is saying as his ADHD is running wild, and catches note of the Boateng saber hanging from his wall from the King dynasty. A relic that his parents tried so hard searching for when they were still around to add to their ever-growing collection. Ra's isn't surprised at the Bat recognizing it. He admires it. They're alike in so many ways. He proceeds to grab a hold of the saber as Batsy states how he is sure that it is true, but no one will have the fear toxin. Not Ra's, not himself, not anyone. The Ghoul questions if his friends will not even give it up to have the Bat back in case he gets held captive or something. No, they won't. Will he give it up to keep his life? Nope. Ra's admires the cool and calm responses radiating out of the collected Bat. He knew when Batman came on board with him that he was a man who truly does not fear death. Do you? Oh, death has long since given up on me, detective. But there must be something that frightens you, as Ra's grabs his shoulder. It's funny. The only thing that scares me is me. That is, what I may become, what I'm capable of doing. We cut to Alfred and Barbs down in the Batcave. Barbs is in a mood, as always. Arms crossed with the side eye. Al is hard at work with not much time for her shit, and honestly, he has no time for it at all. She makes a plea, stating how she can make one call to the GCPD. They'll bring in the FBI, the military. A voice suddenly cuts in, claiming how if that happens, then the cops will get the fear juice. She'd like that, wouldn't she? Cop. Drake makes his entrance, looking tough and mean muggin', with Fuck the Police by NWA on blast, as he just finished tagging A-Cab on Barb's vehicle outside. Drake Winston is nothing but a man of culture. Barbs makes it known that she knows who Robin is. It wasn't hard to put the pieces together if she's being real, especially since all of his Robin goons sport the Royal Auto Body logo and hang outside of the shop all day, drawing nothing but attention. If Barbs were a good cop, she would have turned him in by now, but she let him and Bruce skate because nobody cares why, as Drake shoves his way right past her with a shoulder that's cold enough to give you instant hypothermia and frostbite. He addresses Mr. Alfred with the respect that he deserves and states how he's gonna make this quick. B-Dubs is acting weird, even for him, so that's like weird. He thinks he is on a suicide mission. Alfred states how just before Bruce left, he removed 3 pills from one of his belts. He always told Al that he was saving them for his, as he put it, his last day on the job. Drake asks if the pills were the Samurai's. Alfred believes that yeah, that's what they're called by the test subjects. It's an experimental drug, turns you into a fighting maniac. No fear, no pain, just an urge to destroy everything you see. Drake asks Barbs if she is getting it yet, if it's clocking to her, since he is standing on business and not much else, while also asking if it's clocking to us, since this series has been so vague on literally everything. Yes, Drake, we're also standing on business. B-Dubs made himself into a weapon, a monster, and he is not coming back from it. Barb stands tough, stands tall, and says how they have to bring him back. She'll do anything she can to help. Finally, some cooperation from Barbs. It's about time. All she had to do was also stand on business. As the pair take flight in the Batwing, Barbs, annoyed again, states how she is taking it off. She can't wear it. Drake states how she literally just said that she'd do anything. But it doesn't even fit, as she is suited up in a bat suit. Get used to it. Nobody ever said that bat suits were comfortable. Drake goes on to state how, for one, if she gets spotted, she's a jailbird, since they're about to start an international incident and cause a fucking ruckus. And 2, the navigation is synced up with the batsuit. It'll follow her gaze and react to her body language, so stop fucking around and get with it. Barbs is still fighting with the comfort factor of the suit. Anything that propels you further as a person is uncomfortable. Get used to it. As they approach SS Al Ghul III, the ship is on fire, and you know what? Shit is happening. Drake points out how this is not good, and proceeds to put the Batwing into hover mode. Upon the ship, Batman is kicking some ass and kicking it hard. He has a goon by the neck and a goon by the shoulder, ready to slam both of them into the ground head first. Beast mode has been activated. Drake descends from the Batwing on a hook and says how the good news, the only good news in this situation, is that Batman is easy to find. Look for the crazed maniac in a rubber bat suit, most likely foaming from the mouth with rage. Drake urges his newfound sidekick to hold the Batwing steady. He's only going to get one shot, one opportunity. Batman is seen throwing a goon off of the ship, as the rest of them are seen making their way the hell out of there in escape boats. Well, lucky for this guy, he will be saved by the boat and isn't being sent to an unruly demise. Unless there's no room aboard these spacious things, Titanicing this motherfucker. Drake makes his landing and charges Batman. The Bat grabs a hold of the bird as the bird pulls out a syringe. He stabs it through Batman's impenetrable, bulletproof suit and injects the substance into B-Dubs. Batman comes to his senses and asks if that is Drake who stands before him. Gaining more of his consciousness and awareness back, he looks up at the hovering Batwing to see someone firing shots directly at it. Barbs informs Drake on the situation. Ra's al Ghul, Kashif, Theo Vaughn stands there enraged like a blood-hungry maniac behind a turret, pummeling endless shots into the Batwing. The return of the Rat Tour has unfortunately been cut short, but that isn't stopping him from making sure that the people know that the Rat has indeed returned. Shots keep landing on the Batwing. The entire right side is lighting up in flames. Barbs informs Drake how they just took a hit, and how the Coast Guard is now closing in on the madness taking place. Now that the Coast Guards are honing themselves in on Ra's, Drake congratulates B-Dubs on a job well done, and that they're going home now. They need him. Everyone needs him. Especially Alfred. That man be lonely. There's only so many times he can watch every rerun of the Wheel of Fortune, and he's about on his third run now. As the pair grab hold of the line to make an escape, the wing is on fire, so now they're sitting ducks unable to go anywhere. Drake, the man in charge, is open to ideas. Now in the cabin, securing some sort of safety even though they're kind of fucked, Barb's man states how they have one wing, no VTOL. They can't land. That's if they make it to dry land. But they aren't aiming for dry land. They're aiming for the causeway. That's moving traffic though. They can't land this thing on there. That's crazy. Drake says to pick a car and to stare at the taillights. They make their descent as the wings detach, turning the Batwing into something able to actually land and get away. Making their landing on the freeway, the trio celebrate a safe return to solid ground. That's all thanks to our boy Bruce. He thinks of everything. Yeah, Bruce. Except on where those detachable wings landed, cause damn, dude. The trio make their way down to Royal Auto Body. Drake hops out and asks Barbs to check how Bruce is doing. He's gonna swap the buggy out for a van, something a little less heat. He also has to figure out what to do with that damn crane. Opening the bay door to the shop, Drake is surprised at what he is seeing inside. A voice orders Drake to stop right there. A rugged-looking crane has Rakeem hostage with a screwdriver. Rakeem does not look pleased one bit and looks every bit annoyed. Because quite honestly, Crane is such a scrawny little man compared to him. He could have taken him easily. If Drake doesn't stop in his tracks, he will gouge Rakeem's throat out. He demands Bird Boy to move. His little birdlings are bringing a car around for him just like the doctor ordered. Drake tries some reasoning with the crazed doctor. He asks him where he's gonna go since the whole city is looking for him. Apparently, it's not Drake's problem, even though it's clearly a Crane problem, and states how if he tries to follow them, his friend here gets it right between the ribs. Crane knows what he's doing, by the way. He's a doctor. A very good one, too, apparently. Before he can escort Rakeem out, he is caught off guard by the sight of Barb's man, instantly triggered at the sight of anything resembling Batman. Barbs lunges forward, trying to stop the doctor's getaway, but before anything can proceed, Crane cucks himself yet again and drives the screwdriver directly through his eyeball, urging the madness to stop. Damn. It is now 4 weeks later, Arkham Asylum. Home at last. It's good to be back. Here in the dark, the bats can't find me. I'm safe, warm, I have nothing to fear. The doctors and the staff show me courtesy and respect, as well they should. But sometimes they give me sedatives to make me sleep. And when I sleep, I dream. Hideous dreams. Wings and fangs and... Who's there? It is Harley Quinn at the cell of Jonathan Crane. He is straight-jacketed up and locked away in a padded cell. Very much like at the end of Batman Forever, when Dr. Chase Meridian goes to visit the Riddler as he is locked away in the asylum. A blindfold is covering the doctor's eyes from the self-inflicted wounds. Harley points out how the chart says how he's not sleeping. It's because he hasn't had any sedatives. He won't take them because of the dreams. She brought him a new type of sedative. 1 dose and he'll sleep like a baby forever. I know that voice. I mustn't panic. I have absolutely nothing to fear. I promise, Doctor, you'll never dream about the bats again. We fade the last interaction between Crane and Harleen as we now catch one last glimpse of the crime-fighting trio on their night out keeping the city safe from the evils that lurk. Evil will never fully be put at bay within this city, but as long as they put in one honest and hard-working night at a time, a difference will be made, and hopefully one day that difference will be enough for sustainable change. That was a pretty solid final entry through a fairly action-packed issue. And with that, I'm pretty pleased with how this ended up. I was really curious and also pretty nervous through this entire issue how they were going to establish Barbs as Batwoman. Because honestly, through the entire series, there were no hints that are ever showing any development of even going there, despite them teasing this suit through all the cover art. So for the character and the timing of everything that was going on, I think it makes sense for them doing it the way that they did. And honestly, I wouldn't have wanted them to do it any other way because it wouldn't have made sense. Because they really didn't give her a choice to put the suit on or not. And I do like how they used her as the way to take down Crane due to his insatiable fear for the Batman. Because honestly, he was pretty down and out a little bit. He's always down and out a little bit, if we're being real. And I'm just gonna say, dude, Batman was really sidelined for a lot of this issue and most of the series. We never really got to see him in action until a few issues in. And when he was there, everyone else was kind of just doing the work for him. A prime example was when Drake was interrogating Ra's while Batman was just standing in the background. The whole interrogation was Drake's idea, as Bruce was seeing if it was going to work or not. And I mean, it did when Bruce did mention that afterwards, so I mean, I get it during that part. Chuck's demise, man, I was honestly kind of about, pretty mixed. Like, the dude had all of these little dancing Harleens around him, and that was too much for him to handle. I mean, it's pretty funny how he was like scared to death of Harleen, but the whole thing kind of just seemed a little rushed in my opinion, just to get his character out of the way. Harleen's lack of perception to Selina being Catwoman was also kind of because like I said, she has this whole persona therapy thing, so I just found that a little odd how she couldn't spot that. I did like the introduction of Kashif being Ra's al Ghul. I thought that was a pretty cool add-in, although I feel like not a lot was really done with his character, and the way they ended him off and took him in the end was kind of whack with a capital H. I don't know, man, like this entire series, I don't want to say it was a letdown, but I was expecting so much more to come out of it. It feels like they kept introducing these really cool concepts that weren't explored to the fullest extent or even to a fraction of what they could have been explored to. I really just wanted more lore behind the whole persona therapy thing because the whole concept is so big within Batman mythos. And I really feel like the Riddler Year One did it better. They did everything better. I truly don't know if I was asking too much from this series, but it's like almost 2 years into the Echo saga. I truly have no idea if I've been asking way too much from this series, but it's like, dude, we've been almost 2 years into this Echo saga, and with all of the delays between each issue, I really wish I was more satisfied with, I guess, everything. I haven't read too much online discourse surrounding this series, but all of the stuff that I did read and come across, a lot of people really were not happy with the direction that they were taking the entire thing. So I guess it's not entirely a me thing. But at the end of the day, I'm just really happy that we got to spend more time within the familiar world that Tim Burton laid out for us. Especially after this being the second comic series to drop after the original 89 run it's been a few years back at this point. It really makes me wonder if this world will continue at this point, but after the quality and management behind these 6 issues, I really don't know where else they can take this world without doing it more of a disservice. No offense. They did establish the Riddler through Maynard, but the dude truly lacks any sort of threat factor whatsoever. So bringing him back as the Riddler, it would be interesting because we're familiar with the character, but I don't know. I don't think they can really bring that anywhere groundbreaking. And with the inclusion of Barbs as Batwoman now, because it really looks like she's going to be sticking it through with this persona, even though throughout the entire series she showed no interest or even development at all of even going down that route, it feels like Batman will further be overshadowed. But Like I said before, there's so much Batman-rich content that's out there that focuses solely on him. So I honestly don't mind if he takes the back seat for a while for other characters to shine. That is, if they do the story correctly. Man, despite this series being kinda mid, covering it has been such a blast for me. It really feels like I perfected how I do things this time around, because when I covered Batman 89 and the Riddler Year 1, I was still trying to figure out how to do things and find my footing. So I'm honestly really thankful for this experience. From what started as these little 10 to 20 minute videos, I'm pushing them close to an hour now, which is an absolute creative push, but so satisfying at the end. So with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this up. My name is Freddy Savage, bringing you Batman 89 Echoes, issue 6, the finale. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a good night.